Hey guys, Dazzler Magic here, and somebody reminded me I haven't put my ideas to completely fix Magic the Gathering, specifically Standard Constructed, into one video altogether. And ironically, this entire video outlining exactly how to fix the format is shorter than the average business meeting. Now, I will say the number one flaw with Magic is the fact that lands are cards in the deck. And if you don't get land, you are just gonna lose. And if you get land flooded, you're going to lose. So look at every other card game virtually. They go by turns, or it's automatic, or it's just something outside the deck. You don't have to worry about card draw to get your energy to cast your spells. Well, there's no fixing that without making it into another game. And the game would just become Yu-Gi-Oh! With that level of hyper consistency. Like without the lands to slow it down, they'd at least have to go to 3 of. And then we're getting way too far off from anything that resembles Magic. I've heard of people saying land-based mulligans where you show, oh look, I have less than 2 lands, and then you get a free mulligan because of it, but that's abusable, and there's just no way out of it. We're just going to have to deal with it. So past that, how do you make Standard playable again and stop the problems that have made people quit the game? Because people quitting and then not enough new people onboarding, as they call it, into the game, that's a death sentence. You're eventually going to run out of players. You always have to have the same number or higher of people learning the game than you do leaving the game. So you want less people to leave the game and the game to look approachable and fun in at least one format for new people. Right now, amazing levels of people are quitting the game, and absolutely nobody sees a game of Magic Standard Constructed right now in 2022 and says, that looks like something I want to participate in. They say that looks like an overcomplicated mess where you got to track 50 things that are all invisible, and maybe you could throw some dice in, and just there's all these passive things and all these triggers, and there's 50 triggers going off on the stack, and yeah, I'm not interested. And you might think that's a paper-only problem and it works on digital. Have you tried playing Magic on a phone? So they need to decomplicate it. Less words, more basic cards, lower power level, and less just, oh, I want this to do this unique thing, but it's going to take a paragraph. Well then, no, don't do it. Or at least hide it behind a mechanic so that we don't have to just learn what this one card does. We learn what this big elaborate thing does, and then it applies to 30 cards, where we just read the one word and already know what it does. And think about it, they used to do that. Next up, get rid of the double face cards. They don't work in drafts and they don't work with sleeves. That's it. Not much more to that. Well, other than if you double face, 30 of the cards, now you've got 30 more cards to playtest. Plus you damage the cards taking them in and out of sleeves, and then you got the proxies, and then it's just so, it's clunky, it's stupid, everybody hates it. Next up, what's the number one thing that makes people stop showing up to F&M? Well, it's kind of part 1 and part 2 here. Part 1, overpowered decks that they can't possibly hope to beat, so they need to get more aggressive with bans and get more aggressive with not printing cards that are completely overpowered. Number 2 is decks that you can't beat because they won't even let you play your deck. So if there's 3 discard effects in the first 4 turns of the game, I'm forfeiting. I don't even care if it's ranked. And if it's paper, I'm going to tell them what I think of their stupid deck. I'm going to tell them, I came here to play Magic. If you came here to waste my time, then you're going to sit here for 50 minutes while the round ends, and I'm going to go get like a sandwich or something. Don't come back with that deck. So mill decks, hyper control decks with a narrow win con, and probably a couple others. I guess Super Friends with like an absolute pillow fort in front of them. I still consider that kind of a control deck. Duck and cover decks, aka Ender's Game decks, where you just you have one win con and you sit there and just protect it, and all you got to do is get them below 20, but you're gonna just sit there and counterspell your duck. That's why it's called duck and cover. Like you win with 1 5/5 angel, and then everything else is get to the angel, cast the angel, resurrect the angel from the graveyard, and counterspell anything trying to kill the angel. And then removal to get stuff out of the path of the angel. If you've seen the movie Ender's Game, that makes sense. Very, very, very difficult to pull off. Those decks, they can be fair if you don't go too nuts with them, but what's not fair is nothing but counter spells, board wipes, bounce, and removal, and then you win with your man lands. So you win with lands. You don't even drop in like a real permanent. I'm getting real sick of that because everything I know, it's either getting countered, removed, or it's not going to stay in long enough to win. I don't get to play anything. I get 0 synergy. Everything's board wiped. Everything's bounced. Everything's gone. My hand is gutted on turn 3. No, I'm not playing against that. Literally, nobody wants to play against that, and complete assholes play it just to get the win. You need to get rid of people in the community who don't care about fun and enjoyable gameplay and only care about winning, because they are going to drive, like for every one of them, they drive 5 to 10 people away from the store. And that's not good for business. They need to be stopped. Either them personally, you need to tell store owners, if somebody's running decks that are unfriendly, tell them, you know what, we don't care what the official rules are. Change your deck or don't come back because you're losing me customers. Wizards needs to tell the stores that. Hell, I'm telling the stores that. If you know a store owner, send them this video. Timestamp this section. I already know of a ton of stores that do this. I know stores that run their own ban lists. Not even for Commander, for Standard Constructed. So that's one solution. My actual solution here is this is going to be a structural change. This is a big ask here, but anything that is a counterspell or is a removal or is a board wipe needs to be marked as such. So a special little symbol on the card that says this is a control card. And then say you can't have more than 16 control cards in your deck. Might have to play with the numbers, might be 12. And it sucks for people who use it responsibly, but whatever. I mean, honestly, if you're running more than 16 kill spells, what are you even doing? What fair deck would that possibly be? So the people out there running 30 control spells, yeah, that deck's no longer welcome. So besides Wizards, just stop printing mill. Stop doing it. In fact, if somebody runs out of cards, the game ends in a draw because it was one of the two players' faults, and whoever it is, now they don't get a win. Too bad for who got dragged into it, but yeah, you run your library out, the game's a tie. There you go, no more mill. I mean, it's a lot easier to just stop printing mill. As a win con, not as a mechanic, by the way. If you want to load your graveyard, you want to take a penalty by, throwing a little bit of your library into your graveyard, it might be a good card. Okay, cool, nice trade-off, interesting mechanic, great, keep it. But that's like self-mill. Or if you want to get like a card off your opponent's library one at a time, okay. Tactically taking library cards and putting them into the graveyard, that's great. Milling somebody out so they can't even play their damn deck while running nothing but control, you're an asshole. So, hard limit on the number of control spells you can put in a deck and apply it only to Standard, which means since it doesn't apply to any other format, you wouldn't have to retroactively reclassify every single card in existence as control or not. They would just have to do it from now on. Next up to fix Standard, rotate it twice a year. Pretty obvious. They just need to do that. When they changed how blocks work, too many sets would be legal. Too many sets that have nothing to do with each other and don't require synergy between them at all. And now the power level's through the roof. Gee, I wonder how that happened. Math, natural probability. Yeah, they need to rotate it twice a year. But the number one complaint was, I paid, $100 to $200 for this, dually land setup, this land base that I can use over and over and over. Because people are saying, I don't want to rebuild my deck. I want to play it for a year and a half. Well, every time a new set comes out, you got to upgrade, tweak, or replace your deck. So I don't know what planet you live on, but if a deck is that persistent, they're just going to ban it. So you actually have to rebuild your deck every 3 months. But what people were saying, who have a brain, were these dual lands are always in the rare slot and they're always expensive. Take a guess where I'm going with this. And I don't want to play them for 12 months. I want to play them for 18 months or whatever it works out to be. It depends when the set was released. They had a point, but here's another point. Stop printing multicolored lands that we all need in the rare slot. Never do it again, ever. Uncommon slot at best. I don't care what that does to draft. Great. I'm sick of getting color screwed and losing drafts, okay? If you can mix in the right number of dualies instead of a card, that's a very high skill, draft skill level. To know the number, to know when it's better than a certain pick, or to know when to kind of play chicken with somebody else when a pack's coming around, that's skill. So every land that people need, uncommon slot on down. Never, 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 never throw the basic cards that everyone universally needs into one of the most expensive slots. That is the stupidest, greediest, most clueless tone-deaf move that they ever could have possibly made. And yeah, people can just play mono, but that's been like... Mono blue, you're an asshole, and mono white, yeah, welcome to the last 4 years. Mono green, sure, it's pretty overpowered right now. Mono red, you're just a rushing asshole who doesn't want people to play past turn 4. And mono black, what even is that? You're just going to lose. Really not good options across the board. I want people to get more creative than that too, because it kind of pigeonholes you into, I'm just going to run a best of one color, maybe a slightly different goal, but yeah, pretty snoozeworthy. So they need to enable people to be able to build any 2-color or more deck for like under $100. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous that there's like a tax to just even get into the game at all and build one deck. And then you got to share cards between decks and write a little sticky note that says, I took, a bunch of dualies out of this one. Now, I will say, lately we've seen really low costs, like $2, $3, $4 dual colored lands because they weren't considered modern or commander grade. So that brings me to the next point. Just whatever they can do to stop sharing cards between standard and other formats would be great. I know their goal is exactly the polar opposite right now that they've stated multiple times, which is they want cards in standard to sell to more than one group. But when you do that, the price gets astronomical. You need standard to be affordable or nobody's going to play the game in the first place to maybe move on to modern or commander. They need to afford to play standard. So you still want to make money on commander players and any eternal format players, whoever else? 1 to 2 reprint sets per year, so a master set, and then 1, probably not 2 because they've already proven they suck at designing these, Horizon set per year. And then, obviously mix in a new commander, set of decks every year. That's a lot of product for those people. Every couple weeks, that's a product for someone who doesn't play standard. Come on. I mean, plus, if they want to cash in on secondary market singles by saying every time a card gets above $20-$30, we're going to print it in a reprint set, good. Now people can afford to play other formats. I don't care about people holding millions of dollars worth of singles. I care a little bit about the stores, like the big stores, like actual vendors who are just ensuring availability, and they're taking the risk of holding cards for 5 years and then selling them. But they could make a lot more money selling standard cards to standard players. So you either make it on, wait and hold, buy, list, and resell, that kind of stuff, or you make it selling the new stuff that people actually want to play with the enlarging player base and the higher demand for standards. So you just do more volume. It's that simple. If you make money on one or the other and one eliminates the other, it's pretty much going to even out pretty close. So before we proceed on to the main quest, we got to do a little side quest here and talk about our sponsor. And this isn't just any sponsor. This is Into the AM. Oh my gosh, they've got the coolest t-shirts. They got other stuff. I'll get into that. The big one is 3 for $60. Any graphic tees that they have in stock at all, 3 for $60. Plus my code DeskThreads still gets you 10% off on top of that. Oh yes. By the way, check out their clearance section if you really want to get nutty. Oh yeah, marked down from $43 to $15. Look guys, she's going to steal your hoodie anyway. You might as well just buy her one. I'm just throwing that out there. They got some crazy prices on like bandanas, neck gaiters, that kind of stuff. They go down to 50 cents. Like, my gosh. Usually if you make a big order, I don't think I'm supposed to say this, but they'll just throw one in. But check this out, okay? I mocked up an order. All right, check this out. So we got 3 graphic tees plus one that was on clearance. I thought this is funny because I'm actually wearing this one right now. It was, 3 for $60, but then Desk Threads right there, got it marked down to 18. And then we got that one marked down. That's right, clearance plus 10% off. Who does that? And then the women's cropped hoodie. All of those items, so 4 shirts plus a hoodie plus a bandana, $84.48. Come on. And yeah, I do believe anything over $75 free shipping. And the quality of these, oh my gosh, I slept in this last night. These are the most comfortable shirts I own. I went outside of what they sent me for free and bought like 10 more. So check them out. Link in the description, code DeskThreads. Get yourself something nice and look sharp. Now back to fixing magic. Let's jump right back into it with a spicy boy. Fix the damn shuffler and stop rigging matches and stop matching me up based on my deck and its win-loss rate. That is ridiculous. Keep rigging the opening hand to have a I just lost the game level of mana though. I don't completely disagree with that system. If I get a 0 lander into 1 lander, I'm just forfeiting because I've already lost and it's a waste of my time and it's not fair. So if I'm not playing best of 3 so that I can soften the blow and win anyway after a slight disadvantage, if it's just a critical, oh my god, I lost because nothing to do with anything other than luck, yeah, I want to win based on skill. So yeah, keep the opening hand system where they draw, I believe it's 2, maybe 3 at this point, opening hands and say which one has the most comfortable mana amount. Okay, pick that one, and then that's the one they present you with, in case you're not familiar with how that works on Arena. Keep that, but fix the ridiculous shuffler grouping, the low CMC rigging, the whenever you add a new card to your deck, it's always in your opening hand. I mean, there's so many things that they do behind the scenes. They're clear as day. Get rid of all of them. They're all bullshit. They think they know what they're doing. They don't. I want to play normal ass random Magic. Thank you very much. I don't need, WOTC nanny state rigging my hands so that I can be gaslighted into thinking that the game runs smoother than it does, okay? I know how to play Magic. I'm an adult. I know what I'm doing. If I build a bad deck, I'm going to fix it myself, okay? You don't need to baby me with, well, maybe we should toss another land his way. Oh, maybe we should do this. And also, me going first 18% of the time in 1,000 games, do I need to tell you that that's unacceptable? Rigging who goes first based on CMCs and deck choice and win rate that's just cheating. Plain and simple, that is cheating. Get rid of it. So that's the arena-specific section, but just to fix standard, when I say rotate twice a year, if you're not, entirely familiar with the effect of that, I guess I'll just spell it out. It would either be 3 sets, 4 sets, 5 sets legal, then rotate, or it would be 4, 5, 6. Or let's see, there's a 4th one. I don't know. I didn't time it out, but it would not be 8 sets legal. That's too many. That's the point of it. Now, everything in this video unequivocally needs to be done. I would be shocked if even 10% of the community disagreed with what I said here, except for net deckers who just want to be handed a deck where they can get free wins. So eliminate them. They aren't part of the community. They're just a toxic aspect that needs to go away. If I were to phrase it differently, they're part of the anti-community. They only care about themselves. It's like the opposite of a community. They just want free, easy wins with no effort, and they want to buy one deck and win with it for a year, and they just need to get the hell out of Standard Constructed and stop showing up to FNM. So some softer ideas, do what Pokemon does. If I open a pack, I get a code that gives me some free crap on the digital version on Arena. Then people would have a reason to play both and buy both and keep showing up and playing paper instead of resorting to just digital because it's easier. They think it would lower sales, it would actually increase sales. It's kind of the sunk cost thing where it's like, well, I just opened, 9 packs and I've got 9 codes. I could get a lot online, but I don't play online. Maybe I should start playing online. Or you could trade them. I'm sure they would end up on the secondary market and it would just be like a meta currency for eBay that doesn't go straight to WOTC's pocket. But eBay likes to play ball with blocking this kind of stuff, unfortunately. You do have second sale doctrine. I'm not sure if they would go along with that. But, you ever try selling a Microsoft license sealed retail on eBay? Yeah, they took some money from Microsoft to police it, and it don't go so good now. Next up, we just need lower power, more testing. Plain and simple. Everybody keeps making mistakes and letting stuff through. Ask them why they let stuff through, what they were thinking, and then adjust their thinking or tell them get out. You need to do a better job, personal responsibility, and like Mark, hey, you designed a bad mechanic followed by a bad mechanic followed by a bad mechanic. They need the quarterly reviews. A lot of companies do at least annual reviews. Like Linus Tech Tips, I always talk about it. They do annual reviews for every employee and say, here's what you did right, here's what you did wrong. We want you to fix this. It's nice to sit down and have accountability, but not confrontational and all emotional and yelling at each other and just, constructive. We get it. Nobody's perfect and the job is incredibly hard, but you made this mistake 3 times and we need you to stop doing it because, you just pissed off 1 million people and lost us 10,000 customers with your actions. You literally cost us millions of dollars. Can you maybe try a little harder since we're paying you 8 hours a day to sit there and fix the game and test the game, make sure this doesn't happen, then, make sure it doesn't happen or we will find someone who does know what they're doing, does do the job correctly, does not let stuff like this through. Now, allegedly, it wasn't playtesting or design at all. Mark Rosewater's a crazy person, but they usually keep him in check. It was Hasbro breathing down Chris Cox's neck, telling him, make more money. Oh, you made more money? Great, make more money. And then him telling Play Design, power ramp this to hell and back. Or power creep, I should say. That's the real term. Well, I think they've learned over the last 2 years that that's not sustainable. I mean, look at the number of bans. Look at the number of, who wins on what, the number of permanents in play, any metric you could think of, the number of token generations, the number of average triggers on the stack. You could track any of this. We all know damn well it's one up through the roof since Origins. Origins is the rotation that included Origins being legal, but the first rotation after it was legal. That's when I always cite to people as the last time Magic was very comfortable. I mean, yeah, hardened scales, okay, cool, but there was a time where Landfall, you could play any color Landfall, any 2 colors, you could play pretty much any tribal, you could play Red Rush, but it wouldn't be too dominant. You could really play one of 30 decks and have a really good chance of winning. So what did I do? I was excited to play the game, I was excited to build a new deck, and I was excited to buy more cards to build new decks. What's that? A customer wants to buy more of your product? We should do that! What do they get with power creep? Move the goalpost and force everybody to keep buying more powerful cards. Well, we learned from Yu-Gi-Oh! That's not sustainable, and then you just piss off everybody all at once by changing the rules, where they changed how zones or summoning works or something like that, because everybody was just winning on turn 1 or 2. And then they went back to, okay, now everybody wins on turn 5, then they power ramped it again, and I heard everybody in the competitive scene is back to winning on turn 2. They can't stop. They're too stupid. Unless this was their plan all along and they think their customers are just that dumb, which, no comment. I don't like that model. What is Wizards going to do? Just ban 50 cards at once and rotate early? I mean, I've said they need to do it now, but boy, don't make it a pattern. So just fix R&D and stop trying to power ramp. Just go back down, just reset it to a lower power level, whatever you have to do. It's going to have to be a large ban with an early rotation. I don't see another way to flush out cards, that are too powerful. So just pull the trigger. This is why I said you could leave standard what it is, leave it the absolute just nightmare. And Alchemy should have been a rotate twice a year, limited to 16 control cards, perfect format. It would be fragmented. You'd have to play test twice, but they're kind of doing that now. And then when that becomes popular, you just say, you know what, we're going to merge Alchemy and Standard by getting rid of Standard and just making it Alchemy. And then Alchemy would have been rotates twice a year, less cards legal, lower powered cards, and I don't even care about the rebalances. Sure, go for it. I mean, every other game does it. Hearthstone does it, Domain does it, Legacy's Allure certainly does it. Although they did test the game for a year and a half before getting the first editions finalized in paper. I mean, you think Power 9 would have been a thing if Wizards was a little more cautious when they made Alpha and Beta? I'm just throwing that out there. Fix it first, then release it. Test it first, then release it. Make sure it's perfect first, then put it in paper. What a concept! Full disclosure, Legacy's Allure, channel sponsor. Literally has nothing to do with what I just said, though. I'd be commenting the exact same words. Next up, we need to bring back the big prizes. I don't care if they're digital. I don't care if they're cosmetic. I don't care if it's a rank on the app or some special status or some special access to like a special thing in the app or like leveling up and like you need to turn F&M attendance and paper events and whatever into like an RPG. Okay, you need to gamify it. Way back in the day before even I played, you used to get Planeswalker points and then you could trade them in for like, I don't know, dice and decks and books and like something like that, I think. I don't know. I've been told this secondhand. Then they got rid of it because they thought, the game's so good, people are going to show up anyway. They had a little bit of a point, but instead of physical like fulfillment goods, because that is like a little bit of a 90s, early 2000 kind of idea, digital goods, digital perks, give people, say, once you attend 5 F&Ms, you get a free exclusive skin on Arena. I know stores don't want to hear this, but you need to tie the two close, but make it so that you get a huge benefit by playing Arena and also buying some paper products. You get a ton of free stuff and free attendance stuff for F&M, and then maybe you get a bunch of perks at F&M or at, tournaments or game days or pre-releases if you play on Arena all the time and have a ton of, I don't know, they don't really have levels, but if you complete the Mastery Pass, you can go like print off a coupon or something or show it on your phone because, my God, like we're talking not dumb old people technology. Show it to the store bills WOTC for it, and they hand you like 3 free packs. So I really think if they implemented those ideas, which are just kind of like bold, let's try it ideas, on top of the mandatory fixes that need to be done right now to standard, just think how amazing the game would be. You're probably like excited, like, oh my God, they should do this if you watch the video all the way through to this point. They're never going to do it. They're too stupid. They're too arrogant. They don't listen to anyone. There's no accountability at the company. And if anybody who's been there for 3 years questions anybody who's been there for 10 years on their 8th time they made the same card design mistake, then they get fired, they get threatened, or they get assigned really crappy work until they quit. I have dozens of stories about that from ex-employees. I do agree with the fact that Wizards should be spun off, or Hasbro should just stop telling them to make more money, because that just leads to them doing bad things to try to make more money. Very short term, but it's going to collapse eventually, unsafe, anti-community, anti-growth strategies, like competing with stores directly on Amazon. That was just unbelievable, but it made them an unbelievable amount of money. Instead of like 40, 50 a box, they made like 80 something. That's like double. They doubled the money and a bunch of people bought from them there. I mean, they don't care what it did to the stores, because Hasbro was like threatening them. If you don't make another 10% over last year, oh, watch out. You might get fired. We might step in. We might do something. I don't think they would have. But Hasbro is one of the most clueless backwards companies where none of their acquisitions work, none of their projects work out. They just waste money. And the amount of money funneled to their executives is disgusting. As a percentage of their revenue, it is like, I can't believe they have shareholders at this point, and the ones that are still around, I can't believe they aren't demanding every single executive get fired for the amount that they're being compensated for doing nothing. Less than nothing. They're destroying every brand they have. Their E1 acquisition collapsed. It did nothing. Their G.I. Joe acquisition, nothing. They claim they're still working on it. Their Peppa Pig acquisition, which was basically E1, I think, partially, nothing. All they did was run up a bunch of debt and then ask WOTC for more money. Like they're like a drug addict who can't stop making bad decisions. Bad decisions is their cocaine. Hopefully Chris Cox was like, oh, it's my turn now. I am so done with the way y'all treated WOTC when I was there. We're going to change this. Or he was all behind the pump and dump, who cares, I don't care about dumb nerd card games. Look at me, I'm so great, I quadrupled the amount of money in 4 years or whatever the hell he did. Hey, pay me more, I want in on this executive pay thing. And then if the whole company collapses, he doesn't care, he made his money. Gee, I wonder why Alta Fox wants different people on the board of directors. Like finance experts and people who know how to run a business. And lastly, cut the SJW bullshit and fire anyone who makes their entire life about, like, I hate men, I hate white people, I hate cops, and all this other delusional, I don't even know what reality is anymore, but I watch CNN. Those types. Like, get rid of anybody like that, okay? They can't function, period. What more can I say? They cannot function in a job, they cannot function in their lives. Get rid of them. They're toxic, they antagonize the fans, and they put out stupid books that nobody wants to read with their little political message. We don't care about a political message, we care about playing a fucking card game. Mic drop. I'm not actually going to drop it. This is an expensive mic. So that is what Wizards needs to do to fix standard. Please, if you like anything in this video, keep mentioning it to the staff, mention it on social media. Every time a bad decision gets made, tell them this is what you should have done and why. Keep it simple and short. Maybe send some customer feedback directly to their, Wizards support. I don't know. It's a third-party contractor. It's never going to get back to the staff. But following them on social media and reminding them, I don't like the power level. I want it lower. Hey, Mark Rosenberg took a poll. It said people want the power level lower. It's been 2 years. What are you doing? Like, if you keep nagging them, see, the toxic NetDecker fanboys who think Wizards can do no wrong and a bunch of dumb shill accounts, and probably, honestly, other card game manufacturers running shill accounts, I haven't even mentioned that, telling them, oh, I love this decision. Oh, another secret lair. Oh, that's so great. I love you for this. That is probably their competition pretending to be a real person. Hate to break it to you. Welcome to the internet. You think they don't run sabotage and counterintelligence? Like, 1/3 of all accounts on Reddit are fake. Twitter, I heard it's upwards of 50%. You need to get out there and make sure your voice is heard, okay? You need to get out there and just not scream at people, not look like the enemy, not look like a crazy person. Just say, here's what I want. I don't like what you did. Here's what you should have done instead, in my opinion. If they hear that enough, they're going to be like, oh, the community wants this. Because right now, anybody who replies to any of their tweets that they read, that they basically represent about 10,000 people per one person. And that's all they listen to is those lefty social media bubbles full of crazy people. So I hate to say, but get on there on a dumb, burner account with a fake number or whatever you got to do to keep, them from spying on you, and just use it for following Wizards and telling them what to do. Tell them what you want done. Just player feedback. You need to get out there and let them know. And anytime they send out a marketing research survey, take it, because they only put them out on like Twitter and Reddit, which, hearing from just Twitter and Reddit, no wonder why their company's spiraling and they don't make good decisions. That is an exact direct cause and effect right there. Anyway, that's how you fix standard constructed. If they don't do these things, they're not going to have a game in a couple years. So I'll see you guys next video.